We're introduced to a small island where survivors have managed to build a functioning society, far from the infected and the chaos of the mainland. It's connected by a narrow land bridge that disappears when the tide rises. The setup for 28 years later is strong. We then meet Jamie, his wife Isla, who is suffering from an unknown illness, and their 12-year-old son Spike. Jamie takes Spike to the mainland to teach him how to survive and kill the infected, a father passing down survival skills in a dangerous world. I was willing to go along with this logic, and it gave us a first look at how the world has changed nearly 3 decades after the outbreak. The film hints that the infected are evolving, becoming stronger, maybe even smarter. The world building is impressive, with forests overtaking ruins and a real sense of nature reclaiming the world. There are a few attempts at horror, but actual action scenes are rare. And when they do come, they lean more into gross-out effects than real suspense. The infected don't feel scary anymore, just disturbing. The first half focuses on the relationship between Jamie and his son, and it actually builds nicely. But suddenly, that story is dropped, and the focus shifts completely. Now the boy wants to find a doctor who might be able to save his mother. It's a strange pivot that leaves behind the emotional setup the film spent so long creating. Also, this movie feels like a standalone story that doesn't continue what was set up in 28 weeks later. That film ended with hints of immunity, of evolution, and left us asking big questions. I've always admired this franchise for balancing emotional human stories with terrifying zombie horror, and the second film is my favorite for doing that so well. But here, that balance is missing. Even the music, which played such a big role in the first two, is underwhelming this time. There were so many missed opportunities. The film could have explored the idea of a new strain of the virus or introduced a terrifying alpha infected leading a new wave. There are hints of this. A mutated version of the infected appears, but nothing really comes from it. The idea of the island defending itself could have been powerful. But again, that's not where the film goes. Aaron Taylor-Johnson plays Jamie, but for such a strong actor, he's barely used. There's also a subplot involving soldiers, but it's hard to understand what their purpose is. They just seem to be there to be picked off. As for the mutated alpha infected, a wasted opportunity. He should have been terrifying. Instead, his scenes fall flat. In the second half, the film shifts again, now focusing on the boy's journey to find a doctor. The tension is gone. The infected are barely part of the story. The drama feels out of place and forced. And the ending? A completely random new group shows up. It left me with more questions than answers. Ralph Fiennes appears as a strange doctor who lives alone in the forest. He claims that covering himself in iodine keeps the virus away, a detail that feels more silly than smart. The film often abandons logic in favor of drama that doesn't land emotionally. Most of the characters' actions feel random, and the story lacks direction and feels like trying to build up for the sequel rather than the current movie. Subplots are not explored enough and add confusion rather than depth. By the end, I was frustrated. This film is a mess. It doesn't connect with the earlier entries, wastes its best ideas, and loses sight of what made this franchise special in the first place.